there's been a recent announcement by Riot that they're removing Ravenous Hunter. You know, the Omni-Vamp rune every single ADC seems to use for some reason. Yeah, it's gone now. Instead, we're gonna have Treasure Hunter, and the passive is, I mean, the rune is it's just a gold rune. Every unique takedown gives you bonus gold, with the first kill giving you 70, the second unit giving you 90, then 110, then 130, then 150. Altogether, you have about 550 gold from this rune. Is this rune good? Well, I mean, I haven't playtested it at all. It's literally on PvE, and I'm not even sure if the numbers on PvE are working, but I'm not exactly sure if this is a good rune. And since it's replacing Ravenous Hunter, like a lot of champions can't use it anymore. If we're looking at just ADCs, like Zeri, Vayne, Twitch, Kalista, obviously, Samira, Sivir, Aphelios, Tristana, Kaisa, they all use Ravenous Hunter in their rune page, whether it's secondary or primary runes. So, yeah, this is a pretty big change for ADCs. So how is this gonna affect Kalista, for example? Well, here's my case. There's two ways to approach this. We either ignore domination as a rune page, or we find a substitute. So if we're ignoring domination as a rune page, we could go lethal tempo primary with inspiration secondary using cosmic insight biscuits, or we could do resolve secondary, and your options are pretty flexible. If you're going resolve, pretty much anything that is in the first row works really well with Kalista. You could even go Gathering Storm Absolute Focus, but I'm not a big fan of that. If you do want to run Domination, but you don't want to run Ravenous Hunter, you could easily go Eyeball Collection instead, because you're not forced to use a Hunter rune. So instead of Ravenous Hunter, you have Taste of Blood and Eyeball Collection, which is still pretty good, honestly. So that's one way to approach it. The other way, if you want to use Halo Blades, because then you can't just avoid the Hunter rune, then maybe Treasure Hunter will be good. Maybe that will become the new rune page for Kalista. But if that isn't good, I think two of the other options are really good. Ingenious Hunter and Ultimate Hunter. I think Relentless Hunter is not that great on Kalista. So if you're going Ultimate Hunter, if you have a support duo, you can start doing some really aggressive plays with your ultimate. So that's pretty good. And if you're running Ingenious Hunter, your shieldbow and any other active items or items with the cooldowns will have a lower cooldown as well. So if you're running shieldbow, Guardian Angel, QSS, Blade of the Ruined King even, they're all gonna have their cooldowns lowered, and that's pretty good considering how there's this build floating around. Like Twitch and Ash are both building it. It's Blade of the Ruined King rush into Runan's Hurricane and then the mythic item. And Kalista could probably do that. The only reason this isn't popular on Kalista is because there aren't Kalista players. I feel like Kalista would benefit from this build quite a bit because it's basically bringing Kalista back to what she used to build before the item rework. It was a Blade of the Ruined King, Runan's Hurricane, Bloodthirster, but we're replacing Bloodthirster with Shieldbow, which is basically the same thing. And yeah, those are the ways you can approach runes. And the runes kind of also depend on your playstyle. If you like playing really aggressively, and you think your support is good enough to play aggressively, go Halo Blades. You'll snowball a lead, and you'll carry the early to mid game, but you'll become worthless late game if you can't finish the game fast enough. Or you can go Lethal Tempo and run something else secondary. If you have an Enchantress support, you could easily go Revitalize and make use of all that healing and shielding, and you'll have a better late game. But like, she's not really meant for a late game, so it doesn't really work out. I've made a whole video about how late game Kalista doesn't work unless you're going Bruiser. You can watch that. But yeah, this rune is definitely gonna shape the ADC meta. For the time being, the numbers just don't look that great. The rune becomes completely useless once you've fully stacked it, and if you can't make use of that early gold lead, there's no point in running it. Also, all the lifesteal items are being completely gutted, by the way. They're nerfing Vampiric Scepter, lowering the lifesteal by 2%. Same for Blade of the Ruined King. Bloodthirst is getting a 5% lifesteal nerf, but the AD is being buffed to 60. And shieldbow is getting a lifesteal nerf as well, 2%, but the mythic passive now gives 20 more HP, so it's 580 and 70 HP per legendary item. Now, all of these changes definitely make Callista's life a lot worse. I hope she gets some compensation buffs for all these changes, because most of these changes are more directed towards all the skirmishers and bruisers building these items rather than the ADCs. And yeah, Bloodline's also getting a change. They're lowering the max amount of lifesteal you can get at max rank, but they're making it so you get max HP, which doesn't quite add up to what Riot wants to achieve with the rune. But like, sure, this will benefit the Bruiser Kalista build more than I thought. But like, yeah, these are some pretty weird changes Riot's implementing. But yeah, I hope you guys somehow make this new changes coming out in 12.6 work. And yeah, good luck on the Rift.